So, welcome to the first iteration of the Sparkcast. So, this is a podcast that myself, Andrew Goodson, Robert Munchauer, and Chad Steele are putting together. We're kind of coming together to, try to do something new and exciting in our lives, make a video game. And something we've all kind of, thought about for a little while. So, we're not really sure exactly how we're going to go about doing everything right now. We're just kind of starting the process, kind of, throwing our feelers out there. But we decided to kind of document this all through this podcast. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. Anybody got any thoughts?
Yeah, so I think this was probably one of the projects that Andrew's been really passionate about for a while. And I know me, Robbie, and Andrew have all talked about potentially doing something together because we're all best friends. We've known each other for a while. These guys have known each other even longer than I've known Andrew. And we just thought it'd be cool that we can actually do something outside of just friendship because we really trust each other. We know each other's work ethic. We think we would all be able to make an amazing product together. And so we kind of eventually settled on making a video game because it's something we're all super passionate about. So Andrew, I think, came up with who came up with ArtSpark Games?
ArtSpark was a company I started a long time ago, which is currently not a company anymore. But just happenstancely, Arc happens to be our first name initials.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of decided to just keep using it,
Yep.
So not really a lot happened with that. I just kind of, worked on games for a little bit.
Got sued by Apple into oblivion.
yeah, exactly. They took the name from me. But no, it just kind of, became too much for one person, which is actually really good. Because now you guys are here, can kind of help out, kind of keep that enthusiasm up. So really excited about that. Yeah. So, let's talk a little bit. So people watching this kind of know that we're not just amateurs exactly. We do have a bit
I'm
of
100% amateur.
I'm
Yes,
super extra amateur.
So we do have a bit of a software background, most of us here. So my background is comp sci. I got my degree from Florida State University. I'm currently working on my master's at Georgia Tech in computing systems. That stuff doesn't help tons in the actual making of a game. I've worked with Godot quite a bit, and I've liked it so far. I used Unity for a little bit. I have a pretty good background in Python and C++ and Java. At my work, I do cybersecurity. I'm actually the least technical person out of this entire group. I mostly just, sign off on paperwork, that kind of stuff. But for this, it's actually great to get my hands back into it and everything. So, Robert, why don't you tell us about your background?
So my background is a software developer by trade. I work for a local company. I do a lot of mostly scripting, but I am familiar with PowerShell, object-oriented languages, including C++, Java. I've used Godot in the past and a little bit of Unity. I'm not as familiar with them as Andrew is. So my background is a lot of software development, some UI development, things like that. I work in IT, so that's what I do on a day-to-day basis.
You had a computer company there for a little bit too, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I did some computer repair work on the side. Tried to compete with Geek Squad, but they kept the man down. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, that's good. How about you, Chad?
So I went to school with Andrew, but I took a little bit different route. I ended up getting a degree in electrical engineering.
The most useful of degrees.
Oh yeah, I use it all the time.
Everybody's touching electricity all the time.
Every time I turn on the light switch, I take my degree. So basically, I haven't really done a lot with the degree. I ended up doing something. I'm a contractor for the government, which Robbie's also a contractor, and Andrew works for the government.
Yeah.
And so basically, I never really used my degree too much. I did a little bit of programming, but it really wasn't that useful. And so I think with something like this, it kind of lets me work on my development a bit. And I think I'm probably the weakest, or I'm definitely the weakest coder out of everybody in the group. But so I'm basically hoping that I can kind of focus on the art style a little bit more than just straight up programming. But I'm still trying to get my experience and stuff and be able to be super useful, creating scripts and then coding and then pretty much anything I can help out with. And Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Don't sell yourself short. Electrical engineering degree is one of the hardest degrees you can get.
It was pretty tough.
It's not easy. It takes a lot of critical thinking, a lot of hard work, a lot of math, to do that kind of thing. So, I think even though you don't do as much coding as, Robert and I, in our, day-to-days, you'll catch on really quick. I don't
know the last time you did any coding in your day-to-day.
I did a scripted install of Exchange about a year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe. It's been a while. But yeah, that was in PowerShell, so it doesn't really pertain much to this.
Yeah.
I don't think at work I've ever written anything other than PowerShell. I think I wrote a Python script one time. Ooh.
Yeah, I helped fix a Python script. That's about
Yeah.
It's all PowerShell.
His mask?
No, it was actually someone had a Python script that essentially pulled together a bunch of CSV files and everything like that, and it stopped working. I don't know if she updated Python.
You're talking about?
But I had to sit there and troubleshoot it.
Brad's thing, the thing that
no
SVD generator.
No, it wasn't even that. Yeah.
Never mind.
It was a mission support thing.
Yeah, so we're getting a little bit into work here. So, but anyways, one of the parts of this is we kind of came together and we said, hey, we want to make this game. So we kind of talked a little bit about what engine we wanted to be using. I have experience with Godot, honestly, based off of the fact that it's free and it's always going to be free. Kind of led me to that originally. I also thought it was a little bit easier to learn than Unity, personally. Just as far as how the entire, engine worked and how the IDE, kind of worked. And plus I like Python, which is what GD script's kind of based on.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're doing preliminarily right now. We're talking about writing our game in Godot. So we'll see kind of how that, we haven't done any work on it at all. This is completely cursory at this point.
Greenfield.
Yeah.
That's our favorite word, right?
Very greenfield. So yeah, we're just kind of, this first podcast is just kind of to get to know us and us to kind of talk a little bit about what we think we might, be trying to do here. So I think the next thing we can kind of get into a little bit is kind of like our experiences playing games, kind of what we're looking for, what kind of game we want to make. We've talked a little bit about that, but I don't think we're entirely in agreement, and I kind of want to hear it again. So
yeah. Starts off.
Oh, I'm starting us off. Okay. So as far as, I probably grew up the poorest out of the three of us, so I didn't really have a whole lot of gaming systems. When I first started gaming, it was on Intellivision.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Ooh. So, yeah, playing the little frog jumping from the lily pads, eating bugs. Ooh. They did it in Grandma's Boy, if you're familiar with that. They're like frogs.
Seen Grandma's Boy.
They're like in the game room, and the frog's jumping from lily pad to lily pad, and you eat bugs. And then Burger Time. Bunch of other strange games. Yeah, Burger Time. Yeah, Burger Time is a great game.
Never played Burger Time. That sounds cool. What's it about?
You're a little chef character, and you run on these different tiers, and you hit the ingredients to a burger, and you knock them down. It's almost like Pac-Man, except except it's like
kind of like
piece
that
of lettuce,
other
a hamburger patty.
Yeah,
you just gotta bump it falls down. And you gotta
that
avoid.
Reminds you almost of like the old Donkey Kong too, where it kind of
Donkey Kong's a great comparison for it, for sure. So yeah, that's kind of where I started. Grew up playing a lot of Sega. I got one of those for Christmases.
Sega's the best.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Super Nintendo had some good ones, but Sega's my favorite for sure. Shadowrun for life.
Shadowrun's good, but wasn't Shadowrun also available on Super Nintendo?
It was, but wasn't it like a different Shadowrun? It was
I think
like
it was
a
different,
slightly
if I'm not
different
mistaken,
game.
yeah.
I never played them.
Oh, Shadowrun's great.
Yeah, Shadowruns are awesome.
Yeah. It's definitely where I got like my cyber futuristic kind of liking,
Yeah. And anyone who's watching this is probably potentially much younger than us.
I don't know.
So, I don't know, I like in television, they're like, what is in television? So I'm not even that old. But
how old are we? I'm how old am I? 33, 34, maybe 34. 34? I'm 34. All right.
Yeah, I'm 35, so.
37.
But yeah, so I won't spend too much longer on where I came from. But, mostly nowadays I play a lot of computer games, MMO, RPGs, crafting survival type games. So I'm thinking, I don't know. So my vision for this game is kind of RPG is what I'm looking to build. Something I'm like close to my heart. One game is Earthbound. I think Andrew shares the same.
I love Earthbound.
One of my favorite games as a kid growing up on Super Nintendo. So, but those are my thoughts, Chad.
Yeah. So, I didn't play television. I don't think I played in television.
Probably not. No one played in television but me.
So, only in television. So, I actually started out with an Atari. I forgot the version. It's like my brother had it, and so we were playing. What's that game? It was almost like an Indiana Jones game where you're jumping across, like using the rope to like jump across, like
on Atari.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Sorry. I know what game you're talking about, and I do not remember.
Yeah, it was like little alligators in the water.
Yeah, and you're like swinging. Yeah, you're like almost like Indiana Jones, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my first game that I remember playing, and like I was terrible at it, and my brother was so good, and like he would always like I would have to have him beat the games for me. But that kind of sparked like my love of games. And then I got my own game system, was a Nintendo, and then that was Super Mario Brothers, Mario Brothers 2, Metroid, like all of these classic games. Like that was, to me, like I fell in love at that point. And at that point, I was just gaming ever since. That graduated to Nintendo 64, and then Sega Genesis, Sonic and everything, PlayStation 2. And then I kind of like recently, I'd say I've definitely graduated more towards like computer gaming. Mm-hmm. I don't know if graduate is the right word. It's kind of like a console wars.
That might have been like de-evolved.
yeah, depending on the last game.
Depending on who you're talking to, yeah.
Well, as of right now, you still can't hardly buy a console, I think. So
yeah, that's a good point. And so basically, I've kind of switched over to like console or to computer gaming. I still have a love of console games. It's just like Robbie was saying. It's really hard to find one, and I feel like they're still, for me personally, they're a little restrictive. And with PC, like I can get my laptop. There's Steam. There's like a million games on Steam. I can buy a game for like $3.
You can even play the old ones, what we played. The one game that with the astronaut guy. Oh, what was it? Dead Space. Oh, that's for the PlayStation. You can get that on Steam now. Mm-hmm. It's like you can pull all these super old games that we used to play and just play them on the PC.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even just Steam. What you have the Epic Game Store, Steam. You have great old games, GOG. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Origin.
Emulators.
And you kind of have to have a nice computer anyways for just day-to-day life, so it's just easier to be like, I play games on my computer too.
At this point, like computers, like especially like laptops, they're so powerful just straight out of the box. Even if you don't get like a gaming one, you can still play like League of Legends. You can still play like all these other games that...
We're not trying to alienate our console viewers out there. We like console games too. We grow up on them.
We can't afford them.
And
don't have time.
Our wives like watching TV, and they won't let us use it.
Nope. Not even, but Netflix, and that's it.
Yeah. So, are you still going, Chad?
No, that's pretty much it. So basically, just in a console game or 2 computer games right now. Thinking about getting a PS5 at some point, but. It's so expensive, I'll probably just stick to the PC games for now and enjoy it.
Yeah. So, I grew up playing a lot of games. I think I started at the original Nintendo. Trying to think my favorite game on that one. It's definitely Dragon Warrior. So I got that RPG style, where it's like, in my background where it's like kill a slime, walk outside of a castle and save the princess, that kind of stuff. Definitely like that. So I kind of made a little list of the games that have influenced me probably most of my life. So I got Final Fantasy X, Divinity Original Sin 2, Hyper Light Drifter, Clash of Clans, Bit Heroes, League of Legends, World of Warcraft, EverQuest, Darkest Dungeon. I don't want to go too much into all these, but they're all great games. I don't know if anybody watching has played any of them. But for what I'm thinking of in a game, I actually kind of like the Darkest Dungeon kind of thing, where it's like a roguelite, and it's like auto-generated dungeons, and you only have to make so many different assets, and, maybe you manage a team that battles in a turn-based style. I like that game because from a pragmatic sense, it's pretty easy to make, I think. Mm-hmm. And the assets are kind of limited. Don't get me wrong, the assets have to look good, but you don't have to make as many as you would for a full RPG where you're making tons and tons of unique levels and unique bosses and unique bad guys. And you can still kind of get that good lot of hours out of the game in a roguelite, without having to do quite so much work on that end. I'm
sure it doesn't feel too repetitive too with everything getting randomly generated.
Oh yeah. Like that. No, it definitely it's one of those things where the way that they up the difficulty curve, if it's good, it always stays entertaining.
Gotcha.
And they make it in such a way that it kind of makes you sit on the edge of your seat the whole time you're playing, just because of the difficulty and, introducing new mechanics and stuff like that. So, yeah. So I personally like pixel games too. Like Hyper Light Drifter and Bit Heroes are really fun games that I like a lot. Hyper Light Drifter is an amazing game. That's actually the game that I saw that made me want to make a video game. Because, it just kind of the story behind the whole thing. If you don't know the story behind Hyper Light Drifter, you should probably look it up. But essentially it's, made by Heart Machine, and, this guy decided to make a game. He had a heart issue. He kind of brought his friends together, put a company together. He didn't think he would live very long. I think he beat whatever heart issue it is, and now he makes games for a living. So kudos to them for making a really, really good game. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, and I guess we can kind of delve into a little bit of the, how we reconcile that between the three of us,
It's going to be interesting.
It is. So I kind of like pixel art personally, because I feel like it's something I can make myself, even if it's not great. I feel like given enough time, I can make something that looks presentable. Versus like if you start getting into 3D, you start getting into like hand-drawn stuff. I don't know if I'll ever be good at that.
I don't think any of us have like any kind of experience in art.
Not to that degree. No, none at all. Yeah.
And honestly, I'm kind of falling into like the pixel bandwagon myself because I think it looks like classic, and I like the idea of making like a game that kind of pays homage to those old like Zelda games, like those kind of like classic 2 or even 3D like games. And I think like sprite animation would be pretty. I think it would look pretty nice, and I don't think it would be like out of our wheelhouse to do something like that.
Yeah, I think that type of game still definitely has its place. And it does. It kind of pays homage to not only our childhoods, but, just things that were, games that we're really fond of growing up. So I think the pixel art would be a good way to go, personally.
Okay, yeah. I think, that sounds good to me. So as far as, like, mechanics, like, Robbie said RPG, I kind of said roguelike, I don't remember exactly what you said, Chad.
I kind of skipped over that part. So for me, it would probably be, I don't know, I've always liked the idea of making like a Zelda type game. So like in my mind, it would be like some kind of adventure, like Zelda-ish kind of game.
Okay.
That's kind of like what I envision.
So you would like puzzles in it a little bit,
yes,
where you have to kind of figure out the secret to kind of get to do the next thing.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And a lot of RPGs are like that too. So would, like, for instance, would our game be, where would it be set? Like, would it be set in the future? Would it be set in the past? Would we want to do experience points? Would we, want to do the randomly generated dungeons? Or would we want to do, like, completely made? Oh, what is it? We're going to have to blur out the sprites?
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, we're about to get sued.
Yep, we're getting sued.
Once we hit 2 million subscribers on YouTube, then we'll blur out the sprites.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions to it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of personally like to start with like the setting, because that helps me kind of visualize the game.
Yeah.
What are you guys thinking? Are you thinking like a medieval kind of thing? You thinking?
I know we had discussed earlier. In my head, I picture like this dystopian type future. This really kind of sticks out to me. We talked about medieval. Medieval would be great as well, but I think I'm kind of personally on the dystopian future.
I am. I like both. I'm not gonna lie, but I just talked about Hyper Light Drifter a bunch, and it's kind of like that. So yeah, I like that a lot. I think some really good things to look for in that kind of genre. Samurai Jack is one that really I like a lot, and kind of has that kind of vibe. You know what I mean? Perhaps even like a Dead Space or something like that. Like I was talking earlier. I guess the question is, do we want it to be like multi-planet? We want it to just kind of stay with Earth, where it's one of those things where people are just clinging by, but they have like new technology.
Yeah.
Like, what do you guys think?
So I was actually thinking medieval times originally.
I like medieval too.
It's fun, right?
Yeah.
But then after talking to you guys and like Robbie was talking about the color scheme and stuff that he was kind of envisioning.
Oh yeah.
As soon as he said that, I was thinking like Hyper Light Drifter, like futuristic kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like the idea of dystopian. So like
Blade Runner Blade Runner's another one, you know? Yeah. Especially
That's
Blade
cool.
Runner 2047, I think is what the movie is.
I think so.
Yeah, that one has got awesome colors in it. Like, and that's kind of what I think of too. When he was talking about it, I immediately saw like the reds and the neons and like all the colors kind of like on this back, you know, kind of dark cast, rainy kind of city or something
really
like that.
pops,
Yeah, it makes it really pop.
Mhm.
Let me see, Blade Runner.
Yeah, so I'm definitely not against
Blade Runner 2049.
2049.
It's the wrong year.
It's kind of close. But it was
Yeah.
But,
that's probably the original movie. So I actually just recently rewatched both Blade Runners. I started typing it here, and it's like Blade Runner 2024. I'm like, man, we're almost in 2024.
yeah, exactly.
3 more years.
Yep.
Like that movie has lied.
We're getting there, right? I mean, my phone's.
I
pretty
just
close.
mistyped apparently. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then we got the nanobots and stuff.
Yeah.
Clearly, I didn't remember the year of the movie either.
So, let's see. So, kind of like, so you're kind of on the board with the dystopian future kind of thing.
I am not against it. I think it's a really, really awesome idea. I still I'll put it like this. If I had to grade it, 90-something%, I'm like super on board, 100% on board with if we all decided to do medieval.
Mm-hmm.
But I am also extremely satisfied if we try to do like some dystopian future kind of thing with like that kind of color scheme. I would be perfectly fine with that. If I just like made the game myself with zero input, I would probably lean towards like medieval stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with futuristic. I think it'd be fun. I think like we can do a lot of really cool stuff with the storyline. That kind of opens some stuff up to like we're not locked into just making swords and shields, different weapons, teleportation, aliens, like all kinds of stuff. So
you have like cyborgs, like that could be like a class in the game, like somebody has like a mechanical arm or something like
some
that.
cyberpunk thing or something like that. So I think I'm fully on board with doing like the futuristic kind of like dystopian future kind of thing if we decide to do that.
You know, I had brought up a potential title name earlier, but I won't give away spoilers. But, you know, I was just thinking, what if we pulled in all of it? Like all those genres, dystopian future, medieval times. You know,
you're blowing me away.
That'd be a lot of asset creation.
Yeah.
Is that what scared you?
But, no, but how does that? I guess how does that work? Is that like I don't know.
What if we did something?
Well, if
you'd have to have a good story.
Yeah, if you're in a dream state, so all those things are available to you. You know, so
that's possible.
Holodeck, maybe like I like the
holodeck. Yeah,
that'd be cool. Like you go into a holodeck, and then you can go to Jurassic Park or something, or you can go into the future or Star Trek.
We could do like one of the levels could be like. You're in a holodeck, but the holodeck is medieval. So, for instance, maybe you're fighting dragons, maybe you're fighting golems, maybe you're fighting these things with your cool cyberpunk-esque stuff, because you're in this hologram, you know what I mean?
You're
and
like
you have
to a Tyrannosaurus with like a laser beam or something.
Maybe you're like trying to stop this scientist who's created this evil holographic, like not Doctor Strange, Dr. Mysterio or whatever it is, or something like that. Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
Cool. Really cool.
So my plan of attack from this is, so we know we want to use Godot, we know we kind of want to do pixel art. These things have kind of been discussed beforehand. And we're not entirely sure on the setting or everything. I mean, we are kind of, but so the other tool we kind of wanted to start using was Sprite, which I hope I'm saying this the right way. Sprite.
Yeah, read it from here.
Yeah. Anyways,
I
don't know.
It's Sprite.
I'm probably saying it wrong. I'm gonna watch a YouTube video, see how you're supposed to say it. I'll do it right next time. But so for Sprite, I was thinking maybe Chad could go through and maybe make some mock-ups of like maybe what a character would look like, maybe what he's thinking, whatever's in your mind, and kind of play with the color scheme a little bit and see how the tool works. Are we kind of set on like a turn-based combat? Is that kind of something we want to do, or do we want to do like a Legend of Zelda where it's free combat?
Like free roaming, kind of free combat kind of thing. You know, I do think if we did turn-based, it'd be easier to program.
Yes, for sure.
And you can kind of do like a lot of strategic things where you can have characters maybe like combo up abilities and have some kind of special effect. But it is nice to be able to kind of freely move your character. Yeah. And then dodge abilities and stuff without hating like go to the dodge menu and hit dodge and hopefully you roll whatever. I'm kind of leaning towards turn-based, but I do like the idea of like a free combat system where you just kind of hack and slash.
That's going to be a question I guess we'll have to answer when because we got to kind of pick out platform too. So PC, I know Godot easily supports like Android and iPhone. So if you do a turn-based, those are easily portable between PC and Android. That's pretty easy. If you're doing something where you need actual mechanics, it gets a little bit more difficult in that sense, which isn't impossible. Lots of games do it. So maybe we just kind of keep it in our back pocket. We'll say turn-based for now, but we'll see what character concepts you come up with, and kind of what the world feels like it deserves, as we kind of come up with ideas. We definitely have to come up with some kind of plot that hooks, the audience, and we don't have anything. Like, Robbie has a kind of a dream thing that he's talking about, where it's like, not he doesn't have a dream, but the idea is part of the game would be in a kind of a dream state or something like that, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely something I think we could explore. Yeah. And just to go back to what we were talking about, I think turn-based would be our best bet. As you said, it gets kind of complicated when you're talking about porting that. And to me, I want not only people on PC to be able to play our games, people on Android market or using the what is it, iPhone iPhone store? What do they call that?
Apple Store.
Apple Store, yeah.
Lame. Sorry, I just alienated more people. I'm really bad at this.
Half our player base.
Yeah, I mean probably more. I mean it's Apple.
Everyone games on Apple, right?
That's true. Yeah.
When I think gaming PC, I think Apple.
There's a lot of sarcasm happening right now.
I'm thinking about the iPhone users. Chad's an iPhone user.
That's true. Yeah.
So we just
when I think gaming phone, I think iPhone.
We just alienated Chad's people.
I just want to point still. This is probably going to happen a lot on our podcasts. A lot of Apple hate happening. It's jealousy is all that is. Straight jealousy.
A little bit. So I think that's a good starting point. We can kind of fiddle around with the engine a bit. You can maybe make some character concepts. I think that's a strong point to start. One of the things I did want to talk a little bit about was, how do you guys think your contribution will be? It's like, for instance, like I can code better than I can make art. You said you don't really have that strong of a coding background. I think you'd be fine coding. But what do you guys want to try to do? Like, what's the main part of the game you guys want to work on?
Well, there's definitely different parts I want to learn personally, including these sprite animation, things like that, which I've delved into it a little bit, but I would love to refine my skills, including some of the art. I know I've kind of elected myself already to do a lot of editing for any type of social media or podcast we put out. I'll probably be doing the bulk of that myself.
Should we plug your YouTube channel? Game Together?
Oh, we don't have to. No, that's fine.
And there's some really good videos on there.
Very good.
If you ever want to check out YouTube Game Together, Whisper Awake, oh my goodness. Masterpiece.
Yeah.
If I'd ever seen one.
It's true, yeah. High quality edits. Not safe for work.
Talk about blurring some stuff out. Let me just tell you. There was a couple Sprite cans getting blurred out of that one.
But anyway, so I'll probably do into that. And I assume everyone else is kind of the same thing. Like, I know you've touched a lot more of the Godot game making process yourself. Chad's relatively new to it. Chad can code just fine, but I know you said you were interested in the art.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, a lot of the art, the music, things like that.
He's going to do music.
Yeah.
I can't do music.
Yes. I've dabbled in music just a little bit. I've made a couple beats before. I haven't really gone through, like...
Could you drop a beat right now?
No, I'm not
so fucked up.
Yeah.
That's the only beat you guys will probably ever get out of me. But I've dabbled in making music just a little bit. I've made a couple of beats. I've tried a couple of like music making software just to kind of try that kind of stuff out because I really love music. So this would be like my first time fully like trying to make a song for anything that somebody else is actually going to hear. So I'm actually kind of curious to see how that's going to go. I think I'll be fine. But I mean, you never know, right? Like, I'm sure there's gonna be like a lot of hurdles. There's gonna be a lot of back and forth, and like maybe even if I'm making the beats, like there's gonna be a lot of input from these guys because it is our game. But I'm looking forward to that. And then for the animation style, I'm not trained in like art. I don't really have a background in it, but I think I have a pretty good eye for just like
very stylish. His house is very stylish.
That's right. Well, besides the clock, the clock might not be.
Mistakes happen. At some point, we'll probably do a podcast over at his place, and you can see the infamous clock.
Yeah, it's we will point it out, or they would definitely point it out. But for the art, like I don't have a lot of like training and then doing anything kind of artistic, but I think like I'm confident enough that I think I'll be able to come out with a pretty good product. And with these guys giving me input and then working with me, I'm sure we're all going to be doing a little bit of, or a lot of everything, because there's only 3 of us producing this game. I think we'll come up with some really, really good art, and I'm really looking forward to like coming up with some pretty cool concepts. And I'm kind of itching to get started on like designing like the main hero, or heroine.
Yeah, well, actually, if we're doing like a Final Fantasy-esque kind of group, you might have multiple. You know what I mean? Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
So where do you think we should start with, like, first? So, we've kind of discussed some of our ideas. In my head, I've never developed a game, so kind of in my head, we have to have a story first. Mm-hmm. Would you think that's right? Like, we start out with our story?
So it depends on how, in my head, I would think we kind of want to try to work some things in parallel. So if we can settle on the mechanics a little bit, like if we know we want it to be turn-based, if we know we want it to be top-down view, walk around kind of thing, we can start working on those with placeholder aspects and kind of fill in the story once we have the mechanics kind of set. And that's kind of why I wanted Chad to kind of do a little bit of prototyping as far as character designs. Yeah. Because to me, sometimes you don't know it until you see it. Like if Chad comes back with this like super badass, dystopian looking main character guy with like a cyborg arm or something like that, and you're like, that's perfect, we're doing dystopian. Yeah. Or maybe he comes back with like this cool knight, that, kind of has a very colorful scheme to him or something like that kind of like brings you back to the medieval time, and we're like, oh, that looks really good too. Maybe that sets us on down that path, Everything's still kind of up in the air. Like, honestly, what I would like to say is for the next podcast, we would hope maybe have a couple of Chad's, drawings. And, maybe we could talk about maybe what we've done in Godot a little bit. Just kind of maybe we put together a skeleton.
So we can set down some requirements. Mm-hmm.
Oh God, not that word.
Yeah, no.
Oh God, this is supposed to be fun, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, we can set down some requirements. And also, I was thinking this is pretty much going to be a very agile process.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, more fun. Yeah, all our favorite words.
So agile is a secret word that we use at work. It means never deliver anything. We don't want to talk too much about it, but it's the thing. Yeah. So we're going to try to be a little bit more agile than the agile people we work with.
Well, that's their agile.
Yeah.
That's not true agile.
That's not true agile.
It's the attempt to be agile, but it's actually like agile, but it's a ruse. Yeah. They actually don't deliver anything.
Yeah, that's very true.
There's no pipeline. It just kind of falls off the earth.
I think we're going to use like GitHub for collaboration. We're not going to have like a ticketing system or anything like that.
Maybe GitHub. We might not want to go GitHub because I don't think you can host. Can you host privately? GitHub?
Yeah, I have data hosted. I have a thing hosted privately right now.
No one can access it. It's not that it's private.
Nope,
repo.
It's private repo.
But can you share that?
I think I can. Yeah.
I think I can sell it to worst case scenario. We could set up a simple server and run our own instance of Git.
I do like using we can do that. Use our own version.
That wouldn't be
Git.
hard.
That'd be easy.
We could instance our own Git. So kind of what I was saying. So we're going to set our requirements for the game, what we want in the game, the type of game it's going to be.
Do you want to start documenting that, Robbie?
Do you want
to we could say we're stuck between, say, check on pixel, we're stuck between, turn-based and maybe, dynamic combat, and then we can go through and as we slowly start to redefine, we can take things out as we make decisions.
Probably what I could do is get some keywords together and say, hey, these are the types of games we're looking at, and we can just kind of vote on it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, once we have that stuff done, probably, and once again, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier as far as, what everyone wants to do.
Yeah.
I think a part of that would be a good idea is probably start storyboarding a little bit. Yeah. Maybe have some storyboard slides and kind of map out, like a 1,000-foot view of what the game might look like.
Yeah.
And eventually I think a lot of our stuff is going to be like maybe Kanban style board, where we can just have, hey, you have these tasks and someone wants, Chad wants, okay, I want to do this art task, so I'm going to pull it down. And we know that Chad is going to be working on that. And I'll take my task, you take your task.
Yeah.
And, kind of just divide and conquer to actually start getting something developed.
Yeah. I'm gonna actually write this down because we might as well try to make this official.
So
documents.
I was thinking about for the art thing. I'm kind of torn between whether or not I want to try like initial crack at like a hero, or like maybe
An environment, maybe?
yeah, maybe an environment. Like, what if I drew like a street or something, or like a building, or just like a landscape view of like a city, and then maybe that could jumpstart our thought process of hey, what this world actually looks like, and you just kind of like we can kind of maybe use that picture as like inspiration to storyboard what's actually happening here.
Yeah, with some sample art for sure. Yeah. That would be really good. That would be awesome. So we have some sample art of kind of what you're envisioning. Yeah. Based off what we picked for the game, and then we can start kind of storyboarding. Yeah, and we don't have to do out an entire storyboard. Like I said, it could be 1,000-foot view, and you have this idea, and then we can start to develop some assets that match, what the story is. So I think that would be a good route to take.
So I
take notes.
I got Chad demoing character / environment, learning a sprite. I got you documenting decisions / storyboarding. Learning some Godot, perhaps building a skeleton, and then I got myself doing nothing, which sounds like a pretty good job for me. This is pretty much what I do at work. Don't play this at my job, please. Thank you.
He's not joking.
Yeah, that's so messed up. That is not true.
He can't be fired at this point. I'm pretty sure. It's like an unstoppable force.
I've been there for a while, but no. What I'll probably do is I'll help with both of these things, since I know a little bit about Icebright and a little bit about Godot, and help get set up. And obviously we have to, at some point we'll be uploading this podcast. So, I don't really know how long we want these to run. I think we're getting close to like 30 minutes, 35 minutes.
Yeah. Is it that long already?
Yeah.
Chad and I had this discussion earlier. I think we should shoot for 30-minute episode podcast. Yeah. And then probably, if we go 5, 10, 15 minutes over, as long as it's productive, interesting conversation, we can continue going for a little bit. We definitely want to keep it under an hour.
No, that makes sense to me. So yeah, this is the first iteration of the Sparkcast. That's what we're calling it. The idea is that we're part of ArcSpark Games. You'll see logos and promo stuff, I'm sure, like once we start getting to that point. So yeah, this is the first one. Hopefully the second one will have some interesting stuff to show you, kind of some of the work that we've done. We're hoping to release these weekly. Now, as of right now, we're probably going to try to get some of these videos in the queue, so they might not come out on the dates that we actually record them.
We have day jobs. We have
Plus Thanksgiving around the corner.
Exactly. We've got some holidays coming up. But we're going to try to do it in such a way that no matter what, we'll be able to try to get one of these out once a week or once every 2 weeks. For anybody that's viewing it. So, unless you guys had anything else.
Yeah. So, I was thinking about this really cool design for a video game. It would be really, really graphics intensive. I could do like stick figure animations for
stick
all
fight.
Stick fight.
Stick fight's a fun game.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Take me like 3 seconds to draw all the characters. It'd be
stick.
I think for placeholder assets, it's going to be like that.
Yeah,
that's
true.
That's why.
How about
we're going to show art and then we're going to show code. It's not going to be at the same time for at least a little bit.
Well, we don't really have anything to show right now, but for sure. I think it would be a good idea to kind of map those two things together, especially for some of our audience that isn't really savvy in Godot or just coding in general. It'd be a good idea to show them both, maybe even a side by side or something. I'm sure we're going to play around with 1,000 different things.
I just Googled it. Chad, you literally created the game. We're going to call it Stick Sprite.
Stick Sprite.
Yeah, and he's going to have a sword. You just go hack and slash. It's going to be Stick Sprite.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. Okay. So I will say that I think if we can get, something good as far as the code goes, I would actually like to do maybe a 5-10 minute segment on certain modules that we make, because maybe those would be useful to people learning Godot.
You could even do even a side little thing. It wouldn't even be part of the actual
podcast. It could literally just be we learned this lesson, and this is the video, and this time it talks about how we coded it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Idea. We can actually break those into playlists on YouTube. Yeah. The plan is to upload this podcast onto YouTube. Eventually, we're still kind of working out some stuff and some logistics. But yeah, we're going to have the videos on YouTube. Maybe we'll try to get them on a podcasting website. We looked at a few, but yeah, we're still a ways off from that. But
we'll probably end up on Reddit at some point. Please be nice to us in the comments. Come on, guys.
Andrew's extremely sensitive.
We're just trying to have some fun here, okay?
We're going to get brutalized.
We are going to get destroyed on Reddit. I can already tell. But okay, yeah. Unless anybody else has anything else.
We got hit that like and subscribe button.
Oh, that's a thing,
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
that is a thing.
That
You
is
gotta
a
say
thing.
that,
Yeah.
The button's right here.
Yeah. We have to come up with a word for it.
Yeah,
It's like-
you don't even
Is
know
it-
where it is.
I have no idea.
Oh, that's bad.
I think it's over here.
It's got to be like in this corner. I don't know. I might.
or down here, actually.
I'm not going for
Yeah.
that button. I'm not hitting that button. But all right, guys. Thanks
Yeah.
very much.
All right, thanks.
See you guys.